Hey friends, so today we're briefly gonna be talking about Magical 8-Bit Plug 2. To download it, you can follow the link in the description and you should be able to start working. It works, I think, pretty much with any main DAW. It certainly, obviously, works with Logic. So yeah, let's just walk over some of the main features that it has. And this is such a great tool to help you create 8-bit music or 8-bit sound effects for your game. Okay, so yeah, this is right here what the plugin looks like once it launches. And we're gonna focus on a few different features. So we're gonna talk about the oscillator type. We're gonna talk about what pulse does. We're gonna talk about the envelope. We're gonna talk about autoband, and we're gonna talk about vibrato. We have three basic categories we can choose from. So we have pulse, square, and which allows us to create these kinds of sounds. Then we have a triangle, which lets us create sounds like this. Usually used for bass sounds, right? And then we have noise to let us create sounds like this. All right, all I'm sure very familiar sounds to you. You can change the type of pulse wave sound that you generate, that the oscillator generates, by changing this percentages right here. So the low percentage is gonna have a more kind of nasally sound like this. And the higher percentage is gonna have a cleaner sound, more pure sound. And so there's like an in between, right? So I'm gonna leave it there. Let's talk about the envelope. So you have 4 parameters that you can tweak. The envelope is how the sound is produced. What happens at the beginning when the sound is produced? At what point does it start ending? And how long is the sound held for? And what happens after you release the sound? Or, you know, if you're playing it on a keyboard, what happens after you release the note? So the attack is how suddenly the sound happens. So if it's all the way to 0, when you press a key, the sound is gonna happen immediately. So I'm pressing a key, right? Sound's coming in immediately. Now, if I want it to take longer to happen, I can do that, move it all the way up. Right, so that takes longer to happen. Now, what the decay does is how suddenly does the sound decay or fade out? So it's kind of like the opposite of the attack, right? So if you play a note and I hold down the button and the decay is almost all the way down, so it's gonna be a very steady, slow decay. Slowly decaying. So if I have it kind of right here towards the beginning, it's gonna be pretty quick. Boom. Right, pretty quick. So sustain allows us to the note to continue, right? So if I hold down the note, it will continue playing ba as long as I'm holding the key down or the button down to produce the sound. So, but it's held at a certain volume, so we can hold the sound at a low volume, or we can hold it at a higher volume. So let's hold it at a low volume. Right, it's being held. It's not gonna stop unless I release the sound, which I just did. Or let's do it again at a higher volume. Right, it's gonna continue, but now it's at a higher volume. Okay, so that's what sustain does. Now, whenever I release, the sound so far has immediately stopped because the release is set to 0. If you want it to last a little longer, you can just have the release be a higher value. And then I release, right? And the sound takes a little longer to fade out. So let's make it so that it takes a long time to fade out. I'm pressing down, not pressing anymore, but it's releasing slowly, right? So auto bend, it's my favorite. I use it all the time. Some might say that I overuse it whenever I'm making music or sound effects, but I love it. It's so fun. So basically, right now the initial, that's what initial pitch is set to 0. So if I play a note, it's just gonna play a note, right? It's just gonna play that note. What this lets us do, it lets us the note start at a higher note and then work itself down to that 0 note value, right? So let's make it be a higher note, a really, really high note, 24 semitones higher, to be exact. And then I press the note down and it's gonna work itself down to that original note, right? Centers itself there. And you can change the speed at which this happens. So let's see if you start getting some ideas here for making your own sound effects. There you go. Or if you want to start at a really low note, right? You go high. Like I said, you're gonna start getting some ideas on how to make your own sound effects. Or you can start at a not quite so high notes, do something like this, right? Maybe like dropping bombs, kind of sound effect. Okay, so that's auto bend. Let's talk about vibrato. I'm gonna reset this to 0 so that it doesn't affect my sound. Okay, alrighty. So let's talk about vibrato. Pretty straightforward. Vibrato is like a certain rate at which a note vibrates. And it right here specifically is like in pitch. So we can control the rate at which the vibration happens, how quickly. So is it slow? Wow, wow, wow. Or is it fast? Wow, 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 right? So if it's all the way up, it's gonna be slower. So let's hear it. Oh, we can't hear it because we haven't added any depth. So we have to add some depth first. Let's just add a little bit. The depth is like how wide is the vibration. So I said wow, 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 or I said really wide. Wow, 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 right? It can have a crazy vibrato like that. So let's just add a little bit of depth, and we have a big rate, which is gonna make it vibrate really slowly. So, all right, this is what it sounds like. All right, so if we make the rate be faster, this is what it sounds like. All right, it happens faster. Wow, 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 wow. Now we can make the vibration itself more dramatic by increasing the depth. Do this so we can hear it better. Right? Wow, 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 wow. Okay. Now the delay just determines how long it takes for the vibration to kick in. So right now it's instant, so it's set to 0, right? But if I move it all the way over here, it's gonna take a minute from the moment that I play the note until the moment when the vibration starts. See that? Bow, all right, that's all, guys. I hope you enjoy it. I'm sure if you were following, you already have some ideas as to how you can use Magical 8-Bit Plug 2 in your projects to create sounds. Stay tuned for the next few videos where I'm actually gonna start breaking down some like hands-on music and hands-on sound effects. So, all right, good luck, everybody. See you next time.